Hey everybody and welcome back to the channel. With the Oscar nominations set to release on January 23rd, I thought I'd hop on quick and give my updated nomination predictions. There has been quite a bit since I've last updated around a month ago. We had the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globes, the BAFTA nominations, the PGAs, the DGAs. So there was a lot to kind of take in, and I definitely had some shakeups in my rankings, so that's why I wanted to make this updated video. Jumping in right here to Best Picture, I still have Oppenheimer at number 1, Poor Things at 2. Holdovers is getting a boost to number 3, and that's just because it's picking up acting awards, and the BAFTAs absolutely loved it. Number 4, Barbie. 5, Killers of the Flower Moon. 6, American Fiction. 7, Anatomy of a Fall. 8, Maestro. 9, Past Lives. And 10, I did slot in the Zone of Interest making it, and that's because the BAFTAs showed a lot of love in their shortlist and nominations, and plus the PGAs nominated the Zone of Interest as well. I think that kind of set it in stone that this is the top 10 at the Oscars. I still have The Color Purple and the May December there as kind of long shots to make it. You could also make, pitches for The Iron Claw or All of Us Strangers, but I really don't see that happening. I'm truly pretty locked in on this top 10, but if you really wanted to go off the rails, I think you could go for one of those other films. Moving on to director, nothing has changed with my top 5, although I do kind of feel a little bit nervous about Greta Gerwig. There was a Variety report where it seemed like some of the voters that they spoke to were 50-50 on Greta Gerwig and kind of Barbie as a movie, and Greta Gerwig also missed the BAFTA. I don't know how much weight I'm going to put into a lot of the BAFTA nominations in some of these categories because they went really off the rails. I mean, they didn't even nominate Yorgos or Martin Scorsese. So I guess with that, there could be a massive shakeup in director. We could see Greta Gerwig or Yorgos drop out, and then we could see Justine Triet and Alexander Payne sneak in. Payne did get the DGA, but so did Greta Gerwig. I just feel like Greta Gerwig's going to get in because Barbie was just such a phenomenon this year, but I could see the director's branch just really going out for Trier or Payne. I think Cooper and Song are very, very long shots to get in, but if you told me, Yorgos or Greta Gerwig was going to get snubbed for Payne or Trier, it wouldn't absolutely stun me, but I'm kind of rooting for this 5 that I have here, and that's kind of my gut feeling, so I'm sticking with it. Lead actress now, Emma Stone's still number 1, Lily Gladstone's still number 2. I'm also not too worried about her missing the BAFTA. I mean, if Lily Gladstone can win the SAG award, I think she's just right back into kind of that 1-2 race with Emma Stone for the Oscar. 3, I have Carey Mulligan. She's made it in everywhere she needs to. 4, Sandra Hüller. I think she's made it in everywhere she needs to as well. I really didn't expect the SAGs to go out and nominate her. And 5, I did move up Margot Robbie. And that's just because Margot Robbie has gotten into every single precursor, including the BAFTA, which I was not expecting at all. But just with that strong of a case that she got in everywhere so far, I do think she's going to slide in at the number 5 spot. Greta Lee is the one that I think could overtake that 5th slot possibly, but it seems like Past Lives is kind of losing steam. I don't think it's going to get a director nom, and you'll kind of see where I place it in the screenplay category here in a little bit. Annette Bening, Fantasia, Natalie Portman, anyone else along those lines, I don't think they're going to make it. I really think this is the top 4 are locked, and then that 5 and 6 slot can be swapped a little bit. Lead actor is pretty straightforward as well. Cillian Murphy's staying at number 1. Paul Giamatti's at number 2. I think those two are going to be battling out for the Academy Award. Bradley Cooper is at 3. Jeffrey Wright at 4. And now I finally did swap Leonardo DiCaprio and Colman Domingo. Domingo has gotten in everywhere he needs to, and Leonardo DiCaprio has not picked up many nominations at all. And it really seems like they're pushing all of their weight behind Lily Gladstone, trying to get her that Academy Award, and Leo's not really campaigning. So I do think Colman Domingo is going to get that 5th slot for Rustin. Moving on to supporting actress, this category is still an absolute mess, and I've gone back and forth, and there are so many different options you can do. Just to kind of get this out of the way, Divine Joy Randolph, Danielle Brooks, Emily Blunt, I think all 3 of those are locked in. But now this 4 and 5 slot, I have no idea what to do. I kind of feel the most confident in Penelope Cruz, just because we've seen her get nominated for films at the Oscars when they're not performing that well, and Ferrari has a little bit of prestige behind it, and the SAG Awards went out for her as well. To me, that just makes it feel like Penelope Cruz is going to get in here. And then the 5th slot, I have no idea. Jodie Foster has had the most precursor nominations out of anyone here, But is Naiad really going to get one lone nomination in supporting actress? I just don't know. It feels kind of weird. But America Ferrera, she gave a fantastic speech at the CCAs, so maybe something like that would boost, people voting for her to get a nomination. Sandra Hüller has kind of come out of nowhere in the zone of interest. Is it possible that she gets a double nom this year? I don't know how to feel about that either. Julianne Moore was kind of someone who was considered a lock just around a month ago, but she started missing as well, and May December seems to be sliding down people's list. So, I mean, it's possible that she gets in as well. And then if Rosamund Pike, if Saltburn really gets a boost, I can see that happening too. And then I have Rachel McAdams down there. I kind of think she's dead in the water, unfortunately, even though I absolutely love her performance. But if you told me any of these women got into the category, I would not be shocked at all. I really think it's between Penelope Cruz, Jodie Foster, America Ferrera, and Sandra Hüller at this point, and I would not be upset, if anyone predicted any of those actresses. I mean, I can't even blame if anyone wanted to go for Pike or Moore either. This is truly going to be one of the most interesting characters come Oscar nomination morning, and I'm very excited to see what they do. And now moving on to supporting actor, this is kind of turned into just as big of a mess as supporting actress. Robert Downey Jr. is number 1, Ryan Gosling 2, and Robert De Niro number 3, who I thought was on the bubble, but he's gotten in absolutely everywhere as well, so I think De Niro is secure here. And now after that, I really don't know. I have Mark Ruffalo at number 4. He was the Poor Things boy that was getting everything in the beginning, but now he's missed SAG and he's missed BAFTA, but Willem Dafoe got into SAG over him. So is it possible that they flip-flop and Willem Dafoe gets in? I've also kind of thought it's possible that Ruffalo and Dafoe both get in, since they're kind of in a Best Picture contending movie, and Charles Melton isn't. But I feel like Charles Melton gives such a fantastic performance. If the Academy is going to throw May December a bone anywhere outside of screenplay, I think Charles Melton would be it. And I just really hope he gets that nomination because I absolutely love him in May December. But I have Willem Dafoe at 6. I kind of feel like he's the odd one out, but if the Academy really likes what he was doing with all the different makeup he had on, it's possible that they grab him here. Sterling K. Brown got the SAG, so that's definitely possible as well. And Dominic Sessa did get the BAFTA, but they seem to really, really love the holdovers. I mean, if the Academy loves it as much as the BAFTAs do, it's possible Dominic Sessa gets in here, but I just feel like that's kind of a longer shot than these other actors. But this is another category I'm really excited to see what the Academy does on nomination morning because it can go a multitude of different ways. Next is adapted screenplay, which was flipped on its head as well since I last predicted a few weeks ago. Barbie was officially announced to be running for adapted screenplay. They did not accept Barbie as an original screenplay at the Academy Awards. And I have Barbie at number 1 right now. I mean, I'm not really talking about wins in this video. This is more about who's going to get nominated. But I feel like if the Academy is going to throw Barbie a award, I think it would be here because you can get Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach on stage, and they can kind of accept the award for the whole project here in screenplay. But anyways, I have American Fiction at number 2 now. That seems to be strong in the screenplay category. Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Killers, the 3 bigger contenders that we've kind of been following throughout the entire award season. I do think Barbie shifting over to adapted really just killed the chances of Zone, All of Us Strangers, and The Color Purple getting a screenplay nom. I really don't see how any of these top 5 can drop out, just considering how powerful they are in the Best Picture race. And moving over to original screenplay, this definitely got a little bit more interesting with Barbie shifting to adapted. I have Anatomy of a Fall at number 1 just because that won the Golden Globe Award, but if you want to flip-flop that with the holdovers, I completely understand, as I think it'll be these 2 films duking it out for this screenplay award. Past Lives dropped down to number 3. I just don't see that film's package anymore. It definitely has a shot, but I think it's going to get nominated. I'm fairly certain on that. I put Maestro in here as well. I don't really think that is a righty movie, but there just seems to be a lack of films in original screenplay this year. And I've May December at number 5, which I think is a really strong screenplay movie, and I feel like if it's going to get in anywhere, it should most definitely get in here, even if it doesn't get any acting nominations. Saltburn at number 6. Once again, if that surges up a little bit, that could replace May December. That could possibly replace Maestro as well. And then I have the Iron Claw and Air there. I think they're on the outside looking in, though. I think this is the top 5 are pretty strong, and Saltburn has a chance to kind of sneak in and be an upset choice. And now cinematography, one category that has not changed. These 5 movies seem to be kind of locked in everywhere, and they seem to be getting in. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers, Maestro, Zone of Interest. I think they're all getting in. It's possible that one of these other movies can slot in. I think El Conde got in someplace too. I don't even have that on my list here, but I'd be really shocked if this top 5 doesn't make it, if I'm being honest. Next is costumes, and not a whole lot has changed here. Poor Things, Barbie, Killers, Oppenheimer. I feel very secure in those picks. And I have moved Napoleon up to number 5. The color purple really just fell off a cliff after its very strong opening Christmas Day box office performance. And it really has not been getting many nominations outside of Daniel Brooks at any of the guilds or anything along those lines. We did see Fantasia sneak in lead actress at the BAFTAs, but other than that, the color purple seems very dead, even in these tech categories where you'd think it would be strong. It definitely has an outside shot of sneaking in, as does Maestro in this category too. But I feel like Napoleon is live for a couple different tech categories, so that's why I'm going to slot it in here. Makeup and hairstyling, my top 5 has stayed the same. Maestro, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Golda, Killers of the Flower Moon. I did move Napoleon up to number 6 just because I do think that film is live for a few techs, like I just said, in the costume category. And then I have the rest of the movies that made the short list below that. I do think Society of the Snow has a chance to make it in. I haven't had a chance to check out that movie on Netflix yet, but I've heard a lot of people talk about how good the makeup is throughout that film. I just see it having a hard time sneaking to many other categories, so that's why I kind of left it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if that made it in. I don't think Demeter, Beau's Afraid, or Ferrari have a chance in this category, though. Film editing is a category I'm definitely excited to check out as well on nomination morning, even though my top 5 hasn't changed here. Oppenheimer, Killers, Poor Thing, Anatomy of a Fall, and Barbie. There are a lot of films I think could sneak in this category. It seems to be one of the more random tech categories at the moment. I think The Holdovers, Zone, and Maestro are all very live to sneak in here. If Zone of Interest really overperforms and it's even higher than that 10th slot I had it in my Best Picture rankings, it could go for a lot of text, including here in editing. And The Holdovers is surging as well, so if the Academy really likes The Holdovers, I could see it bumping out Barbie for sure. I think Barbie's the weakest here. Oppenheimer is clearly going to make it in, and I think Killers is as well. Poor Things, Anatomy, I think they could easily miss. I really hope Anatomy makes it in. I think that is the best edited film of the year, even though Oppenheimer is probably going to take home this award. Moving over to production design, this is another tech category where I have the Zone of Interest shooting up into my top 5. Barbie, Poor Things, Killers, Oppenheimer, I think those 4 are pretty much locks. And the Zone of Interest, I think, is just surging up and going to get this nomination. Because when I'm looking at these other movies, Maestro's production design wasn't like anything to write home about, in my opinion. The color purple once again is falling. Asteroid City, it getting a lone nomination seems kind of weird. Napoleon possibly, but it just doesn't seem likely. Saltburn, I could see once again if that movie surges, and then The Holdovers if that really, really overperforms. I'm kind of interested to see what will be that 5th slot here, but I just think all signs are pointing to the Zone of Interest having a very strong outing on Oscar nominations morning. Score, not a whole lot has changed here. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killer, Across the Spider-Verse, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I do think they're going to give John Williams the nomination here, even though it's kind of weird giving him a nomination for music he pretty much wrote decades ago, as the new music wasn't all that interesting in Dial. But you know, something else could sneak in here. Zone of Interest, once again, if that really surges, that's possible. Barbie has made it into a few precursors, so that's up there. And Paul Newman always has a chance for his Pixar film Elemental. I do think The Boy and the Hare and the Society of Snow are on the outside looking in here. But I'm interested to see if they will go for Dial of Destiny. I just kind of have a gut feeling that they will, because they absolutely love John Williams. And I think they'll want to give him just, you know, nominations as long as he's still around and making music. Sound is a category I made a few changes to. I still have Oppenheimer at number 1. Zone of Interest, another tech category I think it's shooting up in. I still haven't seen Zone, and sound was the one category that people were praising it for even before its kind of rise over the past few weeks. So I think I had to move that all the way up to number 2. Ferrari at number 3, I've kind of come around. People have said the car scenes are pretty good in Ferrari, and we all know that the Academy loves nominating movies with like engines and cars and planes and things like that. And that's kind of the one this year that does that. The other that does that is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and I just really, really enjoyed the sound in that movie. I think it's the best sound I heard in a film this year, so I really hope it gets the nomination. And at 5, I have Maestro, just because it's the music movie. At 6, I have Barbie. I really enjoyed the sound in Barbie, but I heard that the Academy was only able to see 10-minute uninterrupted clips from the film, and they showed the I'm Just Ken dance number for Barbie, and I'm just not sure if the Academy is solely basing it off those 10-minute clips, if that's enough for them to want to nominate it here. The Killer is really great sound as well, but that's going to be a lone nomination, so I felt iffy on that. Napoleon has the big battle scenes, and definitely war movies have made it into sound in the past. Possibly. Killers, I was just trying to think about sound in that movie. I can't think of a scene that really, has just sound mixing that is in your face and stands out like some of these other movies that have like big action sequences or sound plays a more prominent role. And at 10, I have The Creator. I think it's pretty much dead in this category. This is another category I think can go many, many different ways, so I'm definitely interested to see what the Academy does. Visual effects I shook up a lot as well. I still have The Creator at number 1, Guardians 3 at 2. Indiana Jones I moved up because it got into a few guilds, and it seems like they're really appreciating the de-aging that they did in the film. And the Oscars do love nominating their blockbusters in this category. They love movies filled with visual effects, and Indiana Jones definitely fills that void. Plus, if it gets the score nomination, that's 2 nominations for Indiana Jones there. I have Mission Impossible there as well. I think those visual effects segments have been on YouTube and circulating since the film came out, and I think it has some really, really good CGI, and I think it deserves to be here too. And at 5, I'm hoping they are going to do the cool thing and let Spider-Man sneak in, but since that's an animated movie, I could see that branch snubbing it here, but I'm just going to go for it and predict it. Poor Things I just don't think has enough going on in the visual effects area. Godzilla seemed to be slipping. It really didn't get into any of the guilds. So I don't think it's going to make it in, unfortunately, even though I heard that that movie looks great for the budget that it had. Napoleon, once again, has the battle scenes possibly, and I think Society of the Snow and Rebel Moon are definitely on the outside looking in. Animated feature, super quick to go through. Spider-Man, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nomona, and I did bump up TMNT Mutant Mayhem. I was kind of worried a few weeks ago that Wish would just make it in off of being a Disney film, but Wish hasn't been performing well at all, so I feel a lot more comfortable putting in TMNT here. And then, something else random could sneak in. Maybe Chicken Run if they want to nominate a claymation movie, but I feel pretty solid about this top 5. Original song, just a little bit to talk about here. I still have I'm Just Ken, What Was I Made For from Barbie. I have the Diane Warren Flamin' Hot song because she always gets her nomination. I have the American Symphony John Baptiste song. And then I did bump up Road to Freedom to that number 5 slot just because I have Coleman Domingo making it into lead actor, and I have The Color Purple pretty much dropping out of every single tech category. So I think Rustin is going to get 2 nominations, and The Color Purple, unfortunately, once again, is just kind of falling down the ranks. I left my international feature predictions absolutely the same. Zone of Interest, Society of the Snow, Perfect Days, Taste of Things, and Fallen Leaves. 20 Days in Mariupol has made it into Best International Feature at some precursors, so that could sneak up even though it's a doc. And then I have heard great things about Four Daughters in the Teacher's Lounge again. Sometimes this category can get a little bit wonky, and I'm just kind of going with the 5 favorites. Definitely if you have seen more of these movies and you have a more in-depth idea about them, it's very possible that some different films may shake up this category. Documentary feature has stayed pretty much the same as well. Beyond Utopia, 20 Days in Mariupol, American Symphony, Four Daughters, and I have the Michael J. Fox doc sliding into the top 5 as I've seen that pop up a lot as well. I do think the Nikki Giovanni story also has a chance as well, because that has popped up in a few locations. Once again, documentary feature, sometimes they can nominate, the most random one on the entire shortlist, and it can make it in. So it's always interesting to see what they do, but I do think this top 5 are the most likely to make it in. And finally, for the shorts categories, I didn't have anything picked the last time I predicted around a month ago, but I have gone on. I've looked at the Gold Derby odds. I have not seen any of these shorts, so please do not take my word for this. This is me just kind of picking from the Gold Derby odds at what they think is most likely going to get in, and then I sprinkled in a few upsets as well, because I have no idea, and definitely these categories can be very, very random on nomination morning too. Animated short, I have Once Upon a Studio, just because that is the Disney short that kind of pays homage to, 100 years of Disney. I feel like it's very likely it's going to get in, if not win. Then I have War's Over, Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, and Pete. Continuing down for live action short, I have Wes Anderson's The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. I have Strange Way of Life that stars Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke, I believe. So that seems likely. And then I have the Anne Frank Gift Shop, The After, and Dead Cat. And finally, I have documentary short. I have the ABCs of Book Banning, which seems to be the go-ahead favorite to win. The Last Repair Shop, The Barber of Little Rock, and Camp Courage. And also The Last Song from Kabul. Once again, I have not seen any of these. I don't know too much about them, but I just kind of want to get some predictions in there just because I like predicting every category, even if I'm not the most knowledgeable on it. But now scrolling down, this is the total nominations I have predicted. I'll shift it over here a little bit. And the first number is the amount of nominations I had the film predicted for 3 weeks ago. And then the second number is where I have them currently standing. So Oppenheimer, I still have for 13. I have Killers dropping a couple, Poor Things dropping one, Barbie dropping one. I have Maestro boosting up, as I think it's going to get a few more technical categories. Zone of Interest, like I said, I have that shooting up my ranks in a lot of techs, and I think it's going to make it into Best Picture now. Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, American Fiction, Staying Put. Past Lives, I have dropping out because of Greta Lee. May December, I have Julianne Moore dropping out down to 2. And The Color Purple, I had just absolutely plummeting, only getting Danielle Brooks in. I feel pretty good about these. I don't think I went and overshot any of these films. I may have undershot The Color Purple. I think that may get, at least 2 nominations, but I'm just not sure. I could think maybe costume design possibly, but I just don't feel good about that movie currently. But I am very excited for the Oscar nominations to come out next Tuesday. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought about my predictions. Where are some areas where you would swap what I predicted, or if you just think there is some weird out of left field nomination you think the Academy is going to go for. I absolutely love talking about the Oscars and awards season. It's just so much fun, and there's just so many different, movies and options that they could go for. So please leave a comment down below and let me know what you think, and also drop a like and subscribe while you're down there as well. It goes a long way in helping me out. I will probably have an Oscar nomination reaction video out probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. But I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you enjoy the Oscar nomination ceremony. Have a good one, everybody.